Hello, it's Richard Blundell here from Venture, and the purpose of this video is to explain what we've been up to over the last 6 or 7 months whilst working with Matcha and the sales team from a go-to-market and value proposition point of view. We have run through an entire process with the team, and we wanted to take this opportunity in as short a video as we possibly can to give you a high-level overview of the process that we've been through to completely transform Matcha's go-to-market value proposition and the outputs that we have created for distributors. So in the interest of speed, let me dive straight in and talk you through what we have been doing with Matcha over the last 6 months. And this is how we have transformed Matcha's go-to-market through research, through a really hard look at messaging, through creating some tools, which I'm going to show you in a second, and through massively improving sales enablement. I'll be sitting over here on the left hand of the screen. I might get even smaller as we go into different slides. So let's dive in. This is the problem that we set out to solve right from the very beginning with Matcha. And that was question number one: are we aiming our messaging at the wrong audience? From what we could see from the outside looking in, Matcha's message was mainly being aimed at embryologists, which we discovered very quickly are the champions in this process rather than necessarily the economic buyers, because we discovered very quickly in our research, and we'll take you through the research very shortly, that actually the ultimate buying decision, the ultimate ink on the contract, was signed by CFOs, potentially by COOs and medical directors. And not because Matcha is the best product. We knew that embryologists like using Matcha, but because these people care much, much more about the litigation, the financial risk, and the personal and brand reputation that can be damaged by something going wrong. So question number one was, are we aiming at the wrong audience? Question number two was, are we using the right message? Because if we're not using a really sharp value proposition, taking an axe into the woods that's sharp to cut down some trees, not something that's blunt, then we really were going to struggle. And we found that the pitch that we discovered right at the start of this process was mainly focused on product features. And essentially we were saying, isn't our product great? Rather than actually focusing on how our product solves protecting that organization against potentially viscerally difficult business outcomes. And therefore, as the value proposition stood when we started this process, decision makers couldn't see why Matcha mattered to them. And we felt it was really important that we change that. And finally, we spoke to lots of distributors because we wanted to find out whether we have the right business case tooling to make a professional presentation to our prospects. And they had no way of building a business case, or a very clunky way of creating a business case, calculating total cost of ownership, which emerged very quickly as a key differentiator for Matcha, or carry a financially credible story to the C-suite. So we wanted to go around making sure that we fix that. So what do we do? 4 phases over the last 6-7 months. The first thing we did was we spoke to 11 organizations right across the globe, including distributors, clinic stakeholders, Matcha's own sales team, everybody we could talk to, we could think to talk to, we've talked to understand what customers really care about and where Matcha's message was missing the mark, if at all it was. As I say, we very quickly then in our strategy and positioning phase identified the true buying personas, which is the C-suite, the CFO, the COO, and the chief medical officer. And therefore we needed to reframe our message around the 3 things that kept them awake at night, literally kept them awake at night. And that would be potential litigation, the financial exposure that would bring, and the brand and reputational risk that would come with making a mistake in this area. So having learned that these are the decision makers and that we learned what it was that they truly cared about, we then started to build a new go-to-market narrative where we are going to lead with that visceral business pain and prove the value in the buyer's language, not the language we understand, in their language, which would be pounds, shillings, and pence, and equip the champion to carry the story to the decision maker. That was the key thing. Make sure we're aimed at the right people, make sure we're giving them the right message, and then give our distributors a toolkit to be able to do that. And it's the toolkit which I'm going to dive in and show you very shortly. So we interviewed 11 organizations. We found 8 different pain clusters identified. For example, one of which was the 50 plus different documented IVF mix-up incidents that we reviewed, and establishing that the cost of a single wrong embryo lawsuit was far more than $1 million. We learned that the champion wasn't necessarily the buyer, and that why embryologists love Matcha, they don't sign off budgets. It's the C-suite that does that, and no one right now is speaking that language to the C-suite. We also learned that the pain is visceral and personal. A wrong embryo incident doesn't just cost money, obviously. It ends careers, it can destroy reputations, and it can trigger regulatory action. And that is the real story. And finally, distributors were flying blind. Because they didn't have this business case tool, they couldn't quantify or value or build a financial argument for Matcha, and we were absolutely committed to do that. So before we were selling to the embryologists, we now want to sell to the C-suite. We want to stop saying, isn't our product great, and actually come out with the phrase that we identified is, can we defend our process if a patient sues? In the past, we led with features, barcodes, RFID gaps, and so on and so forth. Now we want to lead with pain, litigation, financial exposure. Before, the distributors had to make the business case themselves. Now we are arming them with the toolkit and everything that they need to make a much better presentation to the board. And finally, we historically have had no visibility of the distributor pipeline or the quoting activity. And now we would like to give them that visibility via our tool. That all makes sense so far. Let me now dive into the toolkit very quickly and show you what it is that we've built there. So this is the executive toolkit, the distributor's toolkit, I beg your pardon. I'm going to disappear again into the corner to make sure you can see the screen in its maximum format. This is the brand new Matcha sales toolkit. There's lots of tools we've included here, which I'm not going to go into today. The principal two are these two here at the top. So let's begin by looking at the fact find and the business case. So this is now a tool that the clinics and the distributors can now use when talking to their clinics. We've got a lot here that have been tested. The team are all working through this now. But principally, we now have the ability to go into a fact find, complete the organization, the region, the country, the contact name, the contact role from a whole load of different drop downs. The buying context, making sure we capture who the primary decision maker is going to be in this process. And again, another drop down there. And where are they at in their decision making stage? Are they just exploring options, or are they evaluating shortlists? And how long do we think this journey will take before they can make a decision? What's in place today? Well, currently this clinic is using manual or paper double witnessing. They may have other systems in place already, so it may need to be a rip and replace. And then we can put down who it is that they are looking at against any of our competitors. In this case, we've used manual, RI Witness, eFertility, and Gidget. We could, of course, use ESCO, add that in there, take anybody out, but we can put in who our competition is. And then we can talk to the customer about their pains and their priorities and say, which of these are the most severe in your eyes? Is it compliance? Well, possibly in the USA, that might not be the leader. Is it litigation and reputational risk? And we can change this by moving this risk down or up using these icons here to make the risk bigger or smaller. And you can use the drag and drop. Is it a staff and resourcing burden? Is it financial growth pressures? We've learned a lot of organizations are looking at how much this is actually going to cost them, and that the financial cost of a solution has a very high severity in this situation. So we'll put that at 5. They could also pick some other pains if they want to. We then look at their commercial inputs, how many clinics they've got, how far we're going to, in years, we're going to compare the different solutions. We can put in the known current cost of the system if they have one, how many major cycles they're doing, minor cycles and other, and put in recommended next steps, which might be a technical and IT review. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen here that all those reports of readiness is now complete, and therefore we can create a business case which can be accessed up here as well. And here you can see the cost, the commercial case straight out the gate between Matcha, and an executive summary has been generated here. ABC clinic faces critical juncture where manual witnessing risks both operational throughput and long-term brand equity. This can be edited if you need to, but it creates an executive summary of the situation they're in. It shows matches cost versus RFID and the difference in cost over a 5-year cycle. The hidden costs to flag in terms of what RFD may not be telling you about when you go and speak to them. And the operational strategic case, how much of our coverage is, what percentage do we cover, which is 98% versus 42% with an RFD-led alternative. So we're cheaper. We're also a better fit for them. And then we can go into all of the different competitive cases, the manual versus paper double witnessing, RI witness, and it gives a summary of why the challenges they should be looking at, the flags they should be looking at, matches advantages versus RI weaknesses, the same for Gidget, the same for Vitrolife, and so on and so forth. Then we get into the car configurator where we can actually look at different features and what they're looking for if they want to go down to that level of detail. So you can see everything that you want to see about how the actual features compare, a pain-by-pain response based on the severity of the pain that they've given straight out of the gate. So in terms of financial and growth pressures, Matcha increases cycle throughput by limiting manual bottlenecks. Barcode witnessing takes seconds versus minutes for manual double witnessing, reduce consumable costs, and so on and so forth. So an entire business case has been built here. Objections you might hear, customer evidence we've got from our clients already, recommended next steps so that the reseller can now take the Matcha proposal through a buying stage journey, and everything you need there for a business case is built in there. If you need individual battle cards, the battle cards can be are created in terms of how you win versus competitors, landmines you can set, traps to avoid, matches advantages against manual, RI witness, Gidget. These are all individual battle cards that the salesperson can use if they need to. We've added in a cost of no action in terms of they do nothing and then an incident happens, what the 5-year impact of that could be. And indeed, we've built an email sequence in here for the distributor to use to go through any number of different steps. We've got 5 here, manual witnessing risks, hidden cost of embryologist fatigue, and so on and so forth. So we've built them a whole marketing suite in here as well. So that's the fact find and the business case, which is brand new and now created for Matcha. Next up, we have the quote engine, and this is where we can create a quote. The advantage for Matcha here is we can then track quotes and track pipeline as they're created. So let's say I am in North America. I would simply select next gen and the prospect name, number of sites. All this information can be fed through, number of major cycles. You can add in the equipment, the hardware and the equipment that's in there, and then you get an actual quote in terms of what it is that they are going to charge, Matcha will charge them so they can start building their quotes. You can put in all the annual cost breakdowns by line items, all of the first order implementation packs, and then you can obviously download that as a PDF or an end user PDF. And indeed send it to the customer. So this is all being built as we speak. So a far more efficient way of being able to capture all that information that is required. So hopefully that is a very, very quick run through of how we have transformed Matcha's go-to-market messaging, the research we've done, the messaging that we've changed, the tools that we've built. Clearly, this is the beginning of a relationship with Matcha. There may well be other tools that want to go through a similar process as this, but I hope in just under 14 minutes, I've given you a flyby of everything that myself and Paul have delivered from Venture for Matcha. We look forward to speaking to you again soon. Take care.